My mind immediately went to the Nutcracker outfit during Christmas time.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie. For those who don't know me, reviewing Ready to Love, whatever the hell season this is, episode 1. Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below. Now, I know I said that if I was going to review the show again, I wasn't going to complain. But let me just get my complaints out before we start reviewing the season, okay? Where are the good men? And I'm not even saying that these men are bad, but from the first episode, I'm already looking at them like this whole cast is unserious. Maybe with the exception of one, and even him, it's like a maybe, you know? We're not gonna complain. We're just gonna jump straight in. If you haven't seen my impressions video, you can see it right here. So we're not gonna go through everybody individually, technically, not really. We're gonna have to start with, what's the name? Luron, though. So in my first impressions, I don't know if I had a lot to say about Luron, but boy, do I have a lot to say right now.
These two fine women I'm with tonight. Hey.
I am definitely part of the problem why I'm not finding love. I want to stop going out, but I have to have a reason.
What you drinking?
Champagne. I'm looking for the tequila. Wednesday through Sunday, I'm turning up.
Wednesday through Sunday? Wait.
What upsets me about Luron being a party boy is he's there wondering why he's been single for so long. But then as he's talking about his lifestyle, it's not really conducive for nurturing a mature relationship. Could you be a person who goes to parties and be in a mature relationship? Absolutely. But this man seems to lack time management, maybe. He's not really putting himself in spaces where he could meet women who are looking for something long-term and something serious. So for him to sit up in front of our faces and talk about his confusion as to why he's struggling at love, I'm looking at you like, come on now. Are you serious? Within the first few minutes of meeting the women, they already clocked, oh, this one is unserious. This one is giving immature. Come on, Luron, you are 31, big man 31. And I guess compared to everybody else, he's probably the youngest one there. But come on, big man 31? Get it together. Every year, okay, guys, I promise I'm not going to complain after this. Every year, we're like, why would you come on the show knowing you're unserious? And then Tommy's going to pull up on the screen talking about, and I'm going to find out if you're not really here for love. Are you, though? There's been a scandal or 3 every season about somebody who wasted somebody else's time on the show. Sometimes it's a woman, oftentimes it's a man. Let's move on. Dominique is another one who's a little bit unserious to me. This man is 35. He comes from a family where he has over 20 aunts and uncles. Well, I don't know if everybody's still with us, but you know, his grandfather had over 20 children. And he is on a dating show where the median age is about what? 38, 39? Yet he wants 10 children.
I got very masculine energy from him, like he knows the pursuit and how it's supposed to go.
I want 2 to 10.
What?
Yeah.
2 to 10?
At least 2.
Bring it back. I can tell you right now, the Lord just spoke to me, and God is not going to give you 10 through me.
Now, I know he said he's okay with like just 2. I don't know how serious he is about that. You want 10 children and you're going to date women. Be so for real. Next we have Glenn. Well, do we even have Glenn? Not really. Because Glenn, with his fine ass, why didn't he come? Glenn is very spacey in his interview, and that reflects in, you know, the mixer because he doesn't even show up.
Hold on. I'm missing somebody. I'm missing a Glenn.
She didn't ask me where I was from. I'm gonna start over.
Are you nervous?
I mean, yeah, this is like the whole world. All right, no, I don't need a shot. Maybe.
Tommy has this fake phone call conversation, allegedly talking to Glenn. We know he's not. And he just tells Glenn that he's not ready to love. So instead of starting with 6 guys, we're starting with 5. Yeah, what happened to Glenn? I don't know. Glenn, we need to hear from you. But anyways, this is where Tommy tells us that there's actually going to be 2 mixers. Half the group is on day 1. The other group Oh, that's what I was trying to say. The other half of the group is starting on day 2, and then everybody gets to meet at Tommy's brunch. I like this idea. It gives people the opportunity to have more intimate and in-depth conversations. Granted, how intimate could you go on day 1? But you're not shuffling through all these people trying to speed date and then decide who goes home. They really want to make sure somebody goes home the first episode. To me, I feel like if you're going to revamp anything, change that. But anyways, if they're going to make the group smaller, then I can get behind them still sending a person home on the first episode. So the first conversations that we have post Tommy is Damonte. And Damonte seems to not realize that he's talking a lot about his career and not really taking the time to get to know the women.
A couple of fashion shows, well, a lot of fashion shows, 7 to be exact.
Wow.
I try to be like modest about it, but a lot of people.
But you a celebrity stylist,
yeah,
though.
I kind of.
Okay, that's dope.
I can go from a real conservative look to an urban look to showing tattoos. I got like 35 of them.
Do you? Tell me about the one that I can see on your hand then.
I don't even remember what it was.
It's obvious to us that he is struggling to connect. He doesn't see it though. So when it comes to dating, I think a lot of people think, oh, if I'm being asked questions, then, I just need to answer them all and really highlight myself, which is great. But an art of dating is also knowing how to bounce back, not bounce back, but like bounce off of each other. So yeah, you could talk about your career and yes, you're passionate about it and all, but how can you shift the conversation to also be about the woman, especially if you're dealing with a more traditional woman who's about a man being a pursuer? Ask her the questions. Show that you're interested in what she's got going on instead of just talking about yourself the whole time. And then to think, the man spent all this time talking about himself and the women still couldn't gauge what direction this man had in life. Can you imagine? It seems like styling is his main job, but he has a lot of other jobs, which is great. You're gainfully employed, we can assume, but do you even have the time to date? Do you have the time? It doesn't seem like it. And do you have the skills? It also doesn't seem like it. Alexis has a conversation with Will and she opens up about having an autoimmune disease.
Do you cook though?
Oh, I can cook. Yeah, I'm a big veggie girl. I like to eat clean.
My autoimmune disease is called hidradenitis suppurativa, and I know that's a mouthful, so we say HS for short.
I ain't gonna lie, I didn't want to pray for it real quick, but I ain't want to be weird in the moment.
God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers, so.
For sure.
Will took this conversation very well, unlike a conversation he's about to have later on in the episode. And I've never heard of this autoimmune disease, but Alexis did say, although she's in remission, it's something that she'll have to deal with for the rest of her life. That is something that the guys should take into consideration. Obviously, it doesn't discount her as a viable partner, but it is going to affect the lifestyle that you have if you are partnered with Alexis. I don't think it sounds like a big deal. If she just monitors her eating, it seems like she'll be fine. And also, is that hereditary? You'd have to figure that out with her as well. Yeah, don't think it counts her out, but it's definitely something to think about. Koshia, I don't know. I'll get her name by the third episode. She is having a conversation with Luron. For the life of me, I'm really trying to figure out what is the draw to Luron.
What do I want?
Yeah.
I want wife, kids. I want that.
You have a very strong voice.
Really?
Are you aware of that?
No.
Is that intentional?
No.
He makes me smile. And I cannot say another man here has made me do that, so I appreciate that.
Why you lean in?
Yeah.
To kiss me?
No, when I get close to you, it throws off your guard. He let me throw him off center, and then he leaned forward into that.
All this man had to do was make her laugh, and he became the front runner. Have you actually had a conversation with him? If it's just jokey, yeah, of course. I mean, hey, I always say a man can laugh your panties off. He really can. But it didn't take long for the first few girls to clock that this man was a party boy, and you're out here not seeing it at all? she strikes me as somebody who wants to have a serious relationship. At least that's what I thought at this moment. So I was thinking her engaging with Luron is just a waste of time altogether. But anyways, that's who she wants, man. It is what it is. So Tommy shows up, and I loved this part of the episode. He lets everybody know that they're going to play a game based around the characteristics of the women to test if you have been paying attention or if you can make an educated guess based off the conversations you've had with the women.
This woman loves sports and is even a certified basketball referee. She's open to dating a dad. However, he has to be an active father. This woman makes every man that she goes on a date with pray to see how comfortable he is with God. Size does matter.
Why are you looking at me?
We have been desperate for a revamp when it comes to Ready to Love. So I do like the decision to cut the group in half. I do like the decision to test how much people were listening to each other in the convert. This is great. This is absolutely great. I don't know how I feel about Tommy being the one hosting a game about people's turn-ons. Yeah, we're just gonna bypass that. William, no. Who did well? Oh no, I guess we're starting with who did bad. William and Damonte, piss poor. They were so far behind the pack. It was horrible. It kind of made sense for me regarding Damonte. He spoke about himself a lot in the dates. Wasn't really getting to know the women. William, I didn't really see many conversations of him, so I'm not quite sure why he was doing so badly. But anyways, to my surprise, the two people who I considered to be the most unserious were the ones who did the best. It was Luron, who's the party boy, and Dominique, who wants the 10 children. Dominique did win the game. So I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe his rationale on how many kids he wants and how he's going to accomplish that might not make sense to me, but he listens. And the women noted that later on too when they were discussing who they wanted to send home. Dominique listens. Damonte does not. So at this point of the episode, I was looking at myself like, did not know it. Miss Koshia, to me, has a questionable sense of judgment. And I'm not going to say it is impossible for people to lie to the bitter end of life. But you mean to tell me you were married to a man who had a secret family unbeknownst to you?
Shortly after I got married, I found out my husband had 4 children. I didn't know he had children at all, let alone 4 children.
How? Was the diggling that good?
You can't jump and assume that just because the sex was great. I overlooked,
I'm
right?
sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I just don't think Koshia is into me, and that's okay.
Now, let's be honest, Will absolutely mishandled that conversation. To just assume that the D was good and that's why she stayed is very insensitive. That is her real life. She went through a real marriage and a real divorce. Come on now. But a part of me was thinking the same thing. Were you that digmatized to not investigate? And how did you find out? That's another thing that I want to know. How did you end up finding out? Because if it is a method that you could have found out before the marriage, I have questions. I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of these people come on the show and they talk about their previous relationships and the things that went on in the relationship. And I wonder, how good is your vetting process? Koshia is one of them. Talking to Luron, being excited by him, wanting something serious, seeing that he's very much not serious. And then now talking about a marriage where the man had 4 outside children prior to the marriage. Well, I'm assuming it's prior to. Even if it was during. Girl, how?
As I'm watching back, I wanted to add in this conversation between Dominique and... Ooh, I forget this girl's name. The fine girl. Super fun. Anyways, they're really connecting. And again, I'm seeing these people really do not know how to vet who they're talking to.
Sex before marriage?
No.
You don't want to have sex before marriage?
Oh, I'm not waiting. Is what I mean.
What are like your deal breakers in general?
Not being open-minded. That's a huge one.
Dominique is definitely standing out the most. I gave him my number, so hopefully he'll be hitting me up.
Dominique has made it very clear that he's looking for a whole basketball team of kids. Not even a basketball team, honey. That's not large enough. He wants 2 to 10 children. This lady right here has said she's done. Her 2 kids are already enough. Now, I don't know if Dominique is okay with being a part of a blended family, but I would assume, considering the family that he came from, that he expects to have a family of his own because he doesn't have kids. So, yeah, she's really smitten by him. I hope that she doesn't get disappointed when she learns the reality of what he wants out of life. They're already mismatched, but I guess they're going to try anyways.
Let's fix up your vetting process, babes. That's crazy. So, there are a few men who are just not really clear on what their direction is in life. Damonte is one of them, if I'm pretty sure. And then William is the other one.
As an adult, when you're adulting, addressing credit and taking care of debt.
My expectation is that you already have some things in place, like you have a solid foundation, not you just planted the seed.
In the bigger picture, our goal is to create a legacy.
Have you started anything yet?
I'm definitely working on it.
A lot of people say a lot of things and don't put action towards what they say they want to do.
My non-traditional career, I already know that's kind of a barrier when I meet people.
William is confusing me a little bit. I was under the impression that being the National Guard is his full-time thing and then comedy is his side thing. However, now that he's talking to the women, he's presenting his job as if being a comedian is the full-time thing. And so when he's justifying his career, his lifestyle, his livelihood, he's saying, I understand that I have an unconventional career or job, whatever. So you're a comedian. This is our second comedian, guys. How did the last comedian go? It did not go well. The comedians and the DJs, it seems to just not go well. So I was here okay, you know what? Even though he's a comedian, at least he's in the National Guard, there's some kind of stability when it comes to him. But after hearing him talk about this unconventional job that he has, I'm thinking, is it a farce? Is it an exaggeration? Did you used to be in the National Guard? It's just bringing up more questions for me regarding William. Yeah, we'll have to investigate. So when the women are deliberating with Tommy, Dominique is at the top of a few lists. And the reason is because he listens. The women really like that he was attentive during the dates. The men who are at the bottom are Luron, Will, William, and Damonte.
He's just not my cup of tea.
I almost jumped across that table and snatched all her curls out her head when Alexis said Luron.
I'm like, do you go to the gym? Do you work? Yeah, he's like, I just don't have time. I'm like, you go out Wednesday through Sunday. You have time. Don't be so demanding or give me your phone. Let me give you my number. I'm thirsty. Because he's a comedian, I feel he doesn't know how to turn that off, so it comes off as really goofy.
Present yourself in a way that is mature and...
Especially day one.
It just doesn't look like you were prepared.
You're a stylist, you're a photographer. So I'm all about stability, right? At this point, I feel like there should be a certain level of stability.
He spoke a lot about himself. He wasn't interested in kind of getting to know me.
From my first impressions, I just knew the way that William dressed would put the women off. To me, it was his pants. To them, it was the shoes. It just, it wasn't making sense. It wasn't making sense. And it's not like you have to pull up like Damonte looking like the Nutcracker, but have some kind of cohesion going on. Make it seem like, you're put together. He wasn't the one who was sent home. Ultimately, it was Damonte, and it was due to the fact that he did not listen. So Dominique was at the top because he was listening. Damonte was at the bottom because he did not listen to the women enough. Damonte, on his closing remarks, was saying that he knows that he has a lot to give to a partner. Where was that? Why didn't we hear some of that? It was just, fashionista, fashionista, fashionista. Let me stop being shady. Anyways, that's it for today. We're going to see next week the next half of the group. It seems like they are more exciting. Based on the trailer, we were seeing more of the second handful than we did the first handful. So maybe they'll be the ones to bring some excitement to the show. As of right now, like I said, I'm not going to complain. Just allow me to complain this time around, guys. Let me get it out. And this season, we're going to be optimistic. Myself and y'all. We're not going to be in the comments anymore complaining, because at the end of the day, we're still watching the show. All right. So let's get our complaints out today. And then we will be in top form next week. So as always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.